Welcome to Band Bourbon and Cigars, where we discuss marching band stories and life situations. I'm the drum major of this podcast with a bad back right there, because this is part two of this podcast. That's right, Mr. Reggie himself. And we also have the man of steel, Mr. Rock himself, Mr. Herb. And we have the most beautiful girl in the world, Miss Fancy Flo. Look at that smile, y'all. She brings the sunshine to the podcast. All right, we're going to get right on to this. Our guest today is truly a trailblazer. This lady initially pursued a modeling and acting career in Detroit, Michigan, before transitioning to Los Angeles to continue her career, but later shifted her focus to advocating for the mental illness population and homeless. She now concentrates her professional pursuits and life endeavors on reiterating her clients into society in a healthy and productive manner. Our guest obtained her bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in forensic psychology. Our guest is currently engaged in forensic therapy work with the mental health population, assisting the judicial system in providing mental health services and housing to post-convicted clients. In her spare time, our guest is launching her new t-shirt line titled Tidal Wave. I'm talking about my blood that comes from my mama's you know what, 2 years younger, with a drum roll. My sister, Ty.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome, Ty.
What up, dude? What up, dude? What up?
Morning, Saya. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. That's right. How you doing, sis? You all right?
Yes, thank you for inviting me. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm here.
We had to get you on here. We definitely had to get you on here. See, there's some stories to be told. There's some stories to be told.
Inside stories.
We go a long way back.
So for this one, I'm gonna sit back and be quiet. I'm gonna be like Herb, and I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and do y'all thing with this one and all that. I'm gonna be like Herb. Yeah. But Fancy, you're looking very sunshiny today. Look at you.
Well, thank you. I'm trying to bring in some sunshine around here in Michigan. It's cold today.
That's what's up. Well,
It's
it ain't cold
most
down here,
days.
so I appreciate it. Y'all keep that cold up there.
Now we're gonna send. You need some cold for your back. You know, because no, okay.
That's why I got this icy hot.
Well, Ty, it is good to see you. I don't think I've seen you since high school.
Right. Yes. That long. Almost 30 years.
Wow. Well, I'm very proud to hear about all your new endeavors. I'm sure we're gonna talk about each and everything started today. Get started right now. So let's get started. First question I have for you: what is your favorite childhood memory?
Me and my brother scrapping.
What's the scrap about?
Telephone and freaking washing the dishes. And then I decided, okay, well, it's his turn. He said it was my turn. We couldn't come to agreement, but my favorite moment would end up saying, well, I'll pay you if you wash them for me so I can leave.
Bribery.
So bribery became my thing with my siblings when I need to get out of some chores and housework.
Did it work?
Yeah.
It
did. For the most time, I'm with my daddy.
Go ahead, say what you want to say.
See, she's telling the story. She's definitely telling the story. So this is why we would beef out. Because we did make a system. You know, I'm a system guy. Okay, we'll do a week a piece. Then it was a month a piece. It was a day a piece. Whatever it was, I make these systems and she agree with it. But what she would do, she was always clever. She would either take all the dishes and put them up under her bed or had them in the basement or had them on the attic stairs on her days.
A child.
Or she would go to her daddy, or she would go to her daddy house on her days. We have different fathers. So that puts it back on me washing dishes on her days and my days. So I'm like, man, fuck this. I got to get the hell up out of here. So that's how I ended up at my grandmother's house a lot. I'm going to grandma's house. You think you slick. So that's why we
Yeah.
Oh, it ain't gonna be no line over here. We're gonna find out the truth on both sides.
Yeah.
This ain't no hiding it no more.
It only lasted for so long.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
So
what about you, Herb? What about you, Herb? What was one of your favorite childhood memories?
I mean, not having no bills and not dealing with life.
Yeah, that's a good memory.
Like, yes.
Reality has set in now.
Right. That's a childhood memories. You know.
Yeah.
You start realizing you got so much stuff to deal with, so much stuff to pay. You working for the government, you slaving all day long, and still come home and be happy and put on a smile and front that everything's okay when you dealing with so much in your head. But you know, that's just life. That's just growing up. You know, that's what you got to deal with when you're doing different things. But yeah, that's my memory.
That's what's up.
I just thought about learning how to drive, and my daddy taking me to get my to get my permit. And I was 16. We went to the Secretary of State in Dearborn, and I think that day his AC in his car had gone out, and so the lady who was driving us around, we went like around the block, and she came back. She was like, "All right, you passed." And he laughed. When we left, he was like, "Yeah, she did that quickly because it was hot." That's what I just thought about, though. It worked out, though.
So driving me growing up, it was never no big deal to me. I guess because what it was, we used to take my sister's car all the time, driving her car, with no license, no nothing. I mean, like, time to take a drive.
Wow.
They just got to get legal now. I mean, me and my homeboys took his mom's car, and we went out just driving late at night. Everything went smooth. We pushed the car out quiet and everything. On the way back, this dude hit like every parked car.
Wow.
Yeah, pushed his car back in.
Wow.
His name was Nick Furlow.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Right. Put his whole name out there.
What it is. If he watching, he watching. What up, Nick?
That name sounds eerily familiar. Nick Furlow.
But I'm saying, I mean, I ain't had nobody's name, you know. At me.
Glad you ain't got no stories on me. Don't tell it all.
Yeah, get at me. Come at me. I'm ready. You know, if you an adult now, you know that should be just a past laugh now. I mean, what can she do to you? I mean, like, you grown man. What can she do? You don't want to took my car. You gonna pay me back for that? Damn. That was in high school. Come on.
I'm sure we all got our own fair share of cars we done tore up. I remember me and my sister tearing up my mama's. She had a Ford Escort. And I don't know what we were doing. We were in the parking lot somewhere. We ended up tearing the mirror off. I got a thing for tearing off mirrors of cars. I did mine a couple years ago. Hit a pole.
I don't know. Let me say that I'm not trying to be, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it a woman thing? Because my wife said the same thing. So many cars.
It sounds like you're trying to be sexist.
That's the word I was looking for. I'm not trying to be sexist. But my wife said the same thing. And I was like, no, I didn't tear up a lot of cars when I was growing up. I broke them down and put them back together, but I didn't hit a wall or hit a person.
Let me clarify. So I didn't tear up cars. I just used to knock mirrors off. Like it was something about the mirrors.
Tearing up the car. Tearing up the car. Right. Tearing up the car.
What now? Was you able to put it back on? Did you have to take it to a mechanic?
I was able to like put it back on, but then she discovered a few days later when it fell back off, and she knew I did it. So I had to save my little pennies and get it fixed. Yeah, but I tore off the mirror of my current car in 2022. Hit a light pole, fussing at the kids like, "Shut up in a boop."
I'm not trying to be sexist or nothing.
You are.
Well, you won't be driving my car pretty soon.
No. What's crazy is that with other people's cars, I'm a lot more cautious. But in that scenario, I was fussing at my kids. But I also don't like to drive.
Keep your eyes on the road. Keep your eyes on the road.
And I was backing out of a driveway when it happened. Isn't that crazy?
Everybody behind me, I ignore with the conversation I talk, but ignoring all the extra stuff. My eyes is focused on what's in front of me because
that's right.
Taking everybody out with me, so I'm focused this way.
I'm not looking at you on the passenger side. None of that. I can talk to you looking straight ahead. I hear you.
Right.
Hey, that's what happens when you go to get your permit and they just give you that deal. Say she's done because they hot. It was real fast.
You know, I agree. It's her fault. It's her fault. I don't know who that woman is. So I have a question, y'all, for the panel, for everybody actually. In your sibling group, where do you fall in birth order?
Middle on one side and oldest on the other side.
Okay.
The middle.
I'm second to the bottom.
Second. Okay. Are you, Reggie, oldest?
I'm oldest.
I'm the oldest in my sibling group too. So I learned in my class a couple weeks ago that birth order plays a role in how we become adults. I don't remember the
Absolutely.
significance of it now, but I just thought about it. How like usually the older children tend to be the ones that are more leader oriented, more organized, things like that. The babies tend to be coddled a lot more, and so they end up being kind of spoiled and entitled, you know.
Rebels.
Well,
And then the kids in the middle, it could be a mixed bag, anything, you know.
let's say that about family order. I mean, like my family order, I wouldn't say the oldest is the leader or whatnot. Leader oriented. Um, I mean, like that's I guess that's situational because certain things can cause people to mature faster or do different things to be the oldest or act the oldest or act in that leadership role. That's why I say I can't necessarily agree with that the birth order thing. I really
like the birth
order.
order.
Your oldest usually end up it's the experiment baby. It's the first one that's coming out. The parents usually show more attention to them, and we got to get the bag. We got to have all of this. We got to do this. We got to make sure they eat. We got to do this. Blah 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 blah. You do that, but then that second one come. Shit, I already been here. You take care of your sister. You do this. You do that. You go get the bag. You go. You see what I'm saying? And it becomes that. Then that baby come. It's like that motherfucker be all right. She'll be all right.
Wow.
So yeah.
From everybody else.
That's interesting, boy. You say that that's like the Adlerian theory, and I was talking to my brother about that a couple weeks ago. I actually love that theory. That's probably one of my favorite ones because I laugh because I think of the birth order, my brother being the oldest, me being in the middle child, and then my sister is like the baby, and it's like, yeah. They have to be the leader or the experiment child, like you said. And then the middle one, it comes on, the second one is like, well, you watch after him or her. And they become like the parents. So we become the follower until we get tired of being in that person's shadow. And then we try to find our own way and we go off, or become a renegade ourselves sometimes and find our own path. And then, like you said, the babies is like, and I've been through this before. Both of y'all look after them, or they just do their own thing. It becomes a bit more, artistic, rebel, just on their own and just doing it on their own. But it makes for a good balance, though, because each one of us have our own way of doing things and thinking. And then when we come together collectively, I like the differences between siblings. I'm not a big fan of having just say one child. If people have them, that's fine. But you should have siblings. Like it gives for a good story tales like this or something.
Right.
Not having anybody to play with, fight with, share with, have experience with, learn. It could be, a boring thing through life. Then later on you might have issues in relationships because you're the only child. I'm saying that this is the case. But
you lose used to all that attention when you don't
you need to have connections with other people and your siblings and your cousins and stuff like that be everything to you when you're growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you mentioned about being in the shadows. Have you ever felt like you was in my shadow?
Of course. But guess what? I'm glad you're asking. Of course I felt that I was in your shadow. But what I realized though, honest to God, the truth, when you finally left for school to go to Grambling at first, then you end up transferring to K-State, I felt lost because I've always been
really
Reggie's little sister, and I had to find my own identity without you being there. You said, "Come on, go to school." I was like, I've shared enough of being in your shadow, and then I often think, how would it have been if I would have went to K-State, a bigger university versus a smaller, college, Marygrove College in Detroit, Michigan, when I was there working on my bachelor's. I was like, no, this is the time for me to experience who I am. And then I became Ty. I found myself, and I pulled out of the shadows, but I cried secretly. I was like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. I am he is me. We 2 years apart. We did pretty much everything together. So when you go off to school far, far away, what am I to do? Then I'm left with the other little sisters. And they looking up to me now. Then I go off to school, but I was still in the city. They felt lost without me. So it does matter. Older siblings do really matter. And you do feel like sometimes you either in their shadows or you're compared to them.
Yeah. We needed that.
That's very interesting that you said that, because I never knew that. Because for me, it was, I need her away from me. I'm tired of everywhere I go that she got to go, because that's how moms always penned us. Like, you can't go unless she go. You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, I want to go with my friend. Well, if she ain't go, you can't go. You know what I'm saying? I want to go ride to the park. If she can't go, you can't go. And it frustrated me. So that's why I had to get out the city. I'm like,
but
also with that,
I wouldn't have
with that, you wouldn't have had that mentality to jump out and do stuff on your own. I mean, you would have been constantly following what Reggie had to say, what Reggie need to do, what Reggie doing. You wouldn't have been able to take on that role of doing whatever you're doing now. You know what I'm saying? It actually pushes you to be who that is. It's like the old saying, push the little bird out the tree, let them fly.
Watch it fly.
Yeah, and also, though, I do want to say that having that separation time, it took me about probably like 4 years, really, actually, to really start figuring out, like, okay, this is me. I am me, and I'm going to figure this out. But it really, really helped to have somebody that was, he called me a thorn in the side, but it helped to know that I had somebody that I could look up to and protected me from the things that I was naive about or probably just didn't know. But coming to K-State was good when I was visiting and came for the bands and all the activities. That was fun, and coming to class for the weekends and stuff like that. But it just wasn't, it was too fast for me. It was too fast for me. And I wasn't ready for that at the time. I knew emotionally I wasn't strong enough to withstand a big university like that. And a lot of people, I didn't like a lot of people around me, unless it was just my immediate nucleus of family. So just his guidance was enough for me. And then when he went off to do his thing, and I learned to become who I am now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing, because I was just there in Detroit, and we have an uncle, which was kind of basically my big brother. He's 4 years older than me. And I literally just said that to him. It was like, that's who I had to ping, like what she's talking about. That's how he was for me. You know what I mean? And then he went off to prison, and you know what I'm saying, got locked up. And I'm like, man, now I have to be this person. I have to figure out, you know what I'm saying, how to navigate life, how to navigate these streets, how to navigate school, how to navigate friendship, relationships without him. And it was at that pivotal point of my teenager years when that happened and stuff like that. And we were just talking about this just last week. Yeah.
I'm just thinking of my sibling unit and how my brother, his name is Jonathan. I always say my brother's, people never knows his name, but his name is Jonathan. Jonathan was like my little tag along, like everywhere I went. And I don't remember if my mom said you have to take him, but he was always with me, everything I did. So he knows a lot of our band people. He knows a lot, our social circle overlaps a lot. Like even now in Detroit, when I started modeling several years ago, he was a photographer. So he was my first photographer. And so he would do my pictures, and he started doing pictures of local artists. And eventually he turned that into a business, And now he has another business where he does like TV installs and like home theater installs and all that kind of stuff. And it's called Just Call John. And I'm like, that is perfect, because people literally just call John for everything, But even when I was in college, he was always hanging out on campus. Whenever I had any kind of gathering, because my room was the hot spot, I would have all my friends in there. The guys would want to stop through because all my friends were pretty, And so my brother would come and he would hang out with me and my friends, He was just always around. And now he lives 7 minutes from me. We always tend to stay close to each other too. But although he's my younger brother, people think he's my older brother because I think he forgets that he was born after me. He be forgetting that, you know.
It'd be that
So
way.
he'll say, I'm her little big brother. And I'll be like, whatever. But yeah.
Yes.
Could you imagine your life without your siblings?
No.
No.
That's unreal, ain't it?
Younger, yes. But no, like the stories that we can tell each other, you know, friends or significant others that we with, and they have chuckles from it. And then we go back home sometimes and talk to mom, like, remember that time? And she was like, I remember that, or I remember, you know. So no, because you wouldn't have a story. You just didn't have much, you know.
Right.
I couldn't.
I would imagine only children are pretty lonely unless they got a lot of cousins or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes
they might not be lonely, but they're gonna be spoiled as hell.
Oh heck yeah.
Yes. Spoil.
So it's 4 of you guys in your sibling group, right? 3 girls, one boy. Okay. And Herb, what about your sibling group?
Oh, I got 3 older sisters and 1 younger brother.
Okay, so 3 and 2. And ours is 2 girls and 1 boy. We had a sister in between us, but we lost her in 2020 to COVID. So that was why I asked that question, because it feels like there's a missing piece of the puzzle, especially around holidays. Because I'm like, oh shoot, she's not here, you know. And I'll call my brother and we'll chit chat. But it's different knowing that there was a third one of you guys, or at least an additional, and they're not here anymore, you know.
Yeah.
For me, I think that would be really. It's not too many things that bother me and not too many things that'll make me cry. Like for some odd reason, Kobe Bryant, when he passed away and how he passed away made me cry. Even family members, I've been to funerals and stuff, and it's like, okay, I understand this is what it is, it's death. But I was so close to my siblings and to my sisters, you know what I'm saying, because I have to protect them and I have to be there for them, and the things that we had to do, you know, growing up, I cook breakfast for them, we go to school and making sure they get to school and back from school and getting on the bus and, you know what I'm saying, all these type of things, right? I don't know how. I think I would be really lost without one of them because we're that close. Like even the one, you know, Shalita that have the nail shop. Speaking of the nail shop, did you go get your nails done? Oh, did you get your nails done, Malik?
Flo?
I
Miss
did.
Flo? Yeah. Over there,
I did.
Purple Passion.
I had her bleed me out today.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Like
next time, I could get up with
like with Shalita, she was my tag along when she was a baby. She was my tag along. So it will always be. People thought she was my daughter when I come around. My friend, is this your daughter? Like, yeah, that's my daughter. And listen, and I'll be like, get him, Lee, and she'll go try to bite him or something like that. So she remembers all the damn folks and things like that. So you know what I'm saying? We were close in that way. But man, Ty, we didn't really get close until after I left, right? Because we had that sibling rivalry type of thing. But she was always there. So like I remember a time in elementary. I don't know if you remember this. We was at the bus stop, right there at Matt and Burns, and some dudes from Barbara, elementary, some dudes from Barbara, middle school, whatever it was. They went to the store across the street, but then they see me at the bus stop, and these dudes want to fight. And I'm just there with her. And it's probably about 10 of them, it's something like that. And you know, and they surround me, and she's like, you ain't gonna jump on my brother, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I know that's right.
They didn't jump me. I didn't run either because I couldn't run because I was with her. I mean, couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna be we got to go down together. So you know that part, you know, the part of I remember when I was going through it with one of my exes that was about to lock me up for the first time and everything, and I'm sitting down there going crazy. And this come down to my basement. She was like, you know, you want me to whoop her ass? And I'm like, no.
Don't see nobody there, right?
You know, we cool, and this and that, and you know, and she talked to me just about, you know, I'm your sister, I love you, and this and that. That was big. And then when I went off to Graham, she wrote me a letter. You know what I mean? And you know, expressing how much, you know what I'm saying, she looked up to me and loved me and things like that, which changed everything for me when it came to her. You know what I mean? Yes, I'm gonna protect her because I had to. That's my sister. You know what I mean? But once we got older, it was different. So once I come back into town, as soon as I hit Michigan, cross over Michigan, hey, where you at? Where we gonna be at tonight? Where we partying at tonight? We party big time in our 20s together, boy, for real.
Mm-hmm.
We did. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yes. Party.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I
And
think
we
that
are opposites.
I think there's a special dynamic between an older brother and a younger sister. And as you guys were talking, it reminded me of this time when I was living in Atlanta with my children, and I went to pick the kids up from school. And Solomon had to be maybe first grade, second grade, somewhere around there. And as him and Sasha were walking out of the door, coming towards the car, I was in the pickup line. I'm like, what is he doing? He had his backpack in the air. But at the time, based on where I was, I couldn't tell what he was doing. As they got closer to the car, he had his backpack over her head. So when he got in the car, I said, why are you holding your backpack over Sasha? He was like, the sun was so bright and I wanted to shield her from the sun. And she was walking like she was Queen Elizabeth. Okay, she walking. And he got this backpack over her head. I was like, oh, y'all so cute. You know, that's what I just thought of as y'all were talking. But I think that's a special dynamic, though. You know what I'm saying? A brother and a sister.
It should be a natural thing, man. Regardless if you're youngest or oldest, especially being a guy, you should be able to take care of the woman in your life. And that's the woman in his life. That was the woman in your life. I mean, I do the same thing with my sisters. Even though they're older than me, I still look at them like, who the fuck is this dude? You know, like, who are you? You know, don't come in here, you top dog, you dude. Nah. So yeah. So it should.
But see, mine comes from my mother, though. You know what I'm saying? Because my mother had a strained relationship with her brothers, and she's the only girl out of 5 boys. You know what I mean? But she can hold her own, though. You know what I mean? So for her, when she would talk to me, it was always, you protect your sisters. You know what I'm saying? You don't put your hand on women. You know what I mean? You this is how you love them. This is how you take care of them, and all of that. I don't want you and your siblings to have the same relationship I have with my brothers. You know what I'm saying? I want y'all to be closer. I want y'all to be better than what we are. So that's what it was for me growing up and listening to that all the time, to say, okay, no matter what, my siblings and I, we would not be in that situation like her and her brothers. You know what I mean? And those type of things, you know. But even though that the whole thing, like, you gonna let your sister pass you up, you're gonna be just like your damn uncle. Oh shit, nah. That's the one thing I can't do. I can't let her pass me up. I don't care what I do. She can't pass me up in this damn grade and things like that. So whatever I'm doing, I gotta make sure I keep going so she don't pass me up. This is my motivation right here.
She even whooped us one time to make sure we understood. Holding hands. I remember that.
Oh yeah.
We had that one T-shirt. We called, I think it was called the Hug It Out T-shirt. I don't know. I had it for my kids too. They would be fighting. Put them in one of their daddy's T-shirts.
Hug it out.
Have y'all ever got a whooping because of your sibling?
Oh hell yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, you can't remember because you got your siblings.
We have.
Yes, you got your sibling whoop. You got your brother whoop. That's what it was.
No. My sister used to get us whooped all the time. The siblings and the cousins. Everybody would get a whooping because of her.
Yeah.
I didn't do stuff like that. I was good. I was a good sibling.
Definitely what
we all say that. The less problematic one, huh?
My brother is gonna come on one day, and that's another episode. I don't know what's gonna come out.
He gonna debunk that statement. He gonna be like,
yeah,
no,
he will. He's gonna be like, I remember when my ex-husband was getting ready to court me, and he was letting me know he liked me, and I said, you gotta go talk to my brother first. And I would do that. I would send guys to my brother if I wasn't sure if I was interested, so he could shut him down. And that's actually, matter of fact, I remember the same day that happened, it was actually 2 guys that I was friends with, and I sent them both to my brother. One went directly to him. My brother shut it down. My ex-husband kind of waited and was strategic. He had to watch and figure out what they had in common and what they could talk about. Yeah, he really plotted that one out. And that's still cool to this day. I'm like, you're supposed to be loyal to me. That's your ex-brother-in-law. That ain't your brother no more. But hey, it's all jokes.
It's between them two. It's y'all two.
Yeah.
That's what my
we've had some situations like that. You know what I'm saying? She was like, you don't like none of my boyfriends. You know what I mean? They ain't look. They ain't gonna last anyway. They ain't gonna last. So why I need to be cool with them? Shit. I see them this day. They won't be there the next time I see them.
They might
But
be.
I remember. Nah, you know. You know what I mean? But I remember 2 times. It was 2 dudes that she was talking to, 2 different dudes that she brought around me.
I had that conversation the other day.
and I got into it with them. But she don't know why I'm getting into it with them. Like, I'm really laid back. I'm really chill. I want to have fun. You know what I'm saying? We can talk some shit, woo woo woo, right? But you can't cross the line with me in any moment. And that's what they did. So I'm talking, you know, I'm a single guy at the time. I'm talking about, you know, saying knocking off this chick, and what I'm doing with the frat and what I'm doing with the, you know what I mean? You know, and they would get comfortable and be trying to talk to me about other women that they dealing with or that they done knocked off. And that's where it goes wrong. You can't talk to me about no other woman and you kicking it with my sister. You can't do that. I don't. I'm not that type of. I'm not that type of guy. You know what I mean? Some dudes do that. They don't care about their family like that, but I do. And you can't talk to me about another woman and you dating my sister. That ain't gonna happen. So that's why we always would end up into it.
But we supposed to be dudes. Yeah. We supposed to be boys.
I think that would definitely push my brother to violence.
Yeah. But I had to grow up too. And I had to ask my sister, like, what is it that y'all want from me now? And they had to tell me, like, look, Reggie, we're grown now. You know what I'm saying? We can handle ourselves. And if we really need you, we will call you. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be popping off when blah, blah, blah. When we need you, we know that we can call you. That's all that we need. And from that point on, I stay my ass out of the motherfucker business. Now I stay over here.
That conversation too. I was living in Phoenix at the time. Yeah. We was on the phone about a good hour and I just ran it down. And after that, you know, of course, we can handle our own too. So we don't get our brother involved in our relationships like that, you know. It's got to be a matter of really truthful life and death. And it's not been that way for no time, really. So because we feel like if we get him involved, we need to think this through, especially being older now, you know, instead of reacting, we need to, you know, respond. He may get in trouble or, you know, death or something.
Right.
And then we won't have him. And this person that we're dealing with is still carrying on through life, doing whatever he's going to do. And then guess what? We lost a sibling. So to me, the persons are not worth it. So I, myself, and my sisters rather just walk away and just say, you know what? Next, to the left, you know?
Yeah.
And that's been my experience. So he may say, oh, they no need to get cool with them. One day they're here, next, be one day they're here, and the next 2 years they're gone. You're right, because move on. It's just not right anymore. And so instead of involving my brother or my family, it's best that I just walk away from the situation. Let them walk away, and we have a clean slate, and no harm, no foul for nobody.
Yep.
That's it. So what was some of the main challenges you had being a sibling in the band?
Me? Oh, Lord. Yeah. The drum major. You? Okay, true transparency. The challenge was because I was your blood sister, I felt like I had to perform. Like you said, I had to perform. There was no lacking. There was no slacking because, you know, people would say, he's the drum major, he's leading us, she's supposed to be just as good. The comparison. So psychologically, I was like, if I'm not good enough, I'm going to reflect on him and they're going to say, oh, their family is whack, you know? So that was a challenge for me. That was my own insecurity. And then the fact that, you know, I was a young girl and I like boys, you know, and I was like, who can I talk to, even a friend? And there was no, you can't talk to my sister. You can't look at my sister. You can't do nothing to my sister. So it was like, I was just off limits. So I didn't have even a boyfriend. You know, I couldn't have a relationship with a boy, even if it was a friend. So being in the band, you know, there are drummers and trumpet players, and you know, all the girls like the drum section people, you know, you know, so the stick line, whatever. But it was like, hey, you just here to perform, and that's it. while everyone else is co-mingling and, growing up and in high school and in college, it was like I had no social life within the band. And that was really hard for me and heartbreaking. I wasn't an ugly duckling, but at the same time, then when the fraternities and sororities came into play, that was another collaboration. And it was just like, I can't do anything because I'm, one, still your family, but two, I'm still a student under your direction in the band. So I had it hard both ways. And so again, when my brother did leave, I kind of got a little leeway. I didn't buck wild or anything. But then after that, I was like, I don't even want to talk to none of these boys. I just went off and started modeling, doing other stuff. So, so that was a challenge. So that's why I didn't go to
it was definitely hard. I remember a time, it was on a Friday, and I was telling all of y'all in the bands, like, all right, you need to learn this particular song by Monday and everything. So I done said this in the band room. When I go home, well, sis is outside playing. So I'm like, okay. Now I know she ain't in there practicing. I know she don't know that damn song because we just got the song. Saturday come, you ain't gonna practice? I got this and this to do. I'm going to get my hair done, whatever it was. I'm like, okay. Come Sunday, I just watched. She ain't practice. Come Monday, she the first person I shook the tree with. You ain't performing. You ain't performing. Sis was mad at me for a long time for that. but that's what it was. It was like, okay, if I'm in this position and you're my family, I can't show you any favoritism because people look at me and say, well, why you trying to tell me what to do, but you ain't telling your sister what to do? You know what I'm saying? And I've been that way throughout my career with it as well. Even in college when I became drum major and stuff like that. With my fraternity brothers, Herb would tell you, Darren Battle, damn, I just called his whole name. Tore up the whole band room one day in the hallway. You gotta give him some push-ups. But people will feel like they're entitled because we're friends or we're in a fraternity together. Dre will tell you. You know what I'm saying? You coming in late? If you 1 minute late, you doing push-ups with me. And Dre can never come in like they be like, you ain't gotta say nothing. They just start pushing up. Great. You know what I mean? Because they knew my temperament. I can't show no favoritism when I'm just because that's my job. If I show favoritism to my boys, my friends, my frat, and all that kind of stuff, then as a great leader, other people look at that and be like, well, you don't do that to them. So why I'm going to allow you to do it to me? And then there's discord. So my thing is to always keep everybody on the same page, man. That's just my belief.
And he do that too with the family, with the siblings. And we still have our rivals silently, but he tries to still keep the how should you say balance and the harmony. So it that comes, I guess, with being the sibling, the oldest. Like you said, the birth order, and sometimes you don't even realize that it's built within you. And that's the way your DNA is, and that's just how you do it. I'm like kind of like, okay, let's negotiate. I'm negotiating. Right. Okay, I know everything ain't gonna be your way this way, but let's come to a happy medium. Let's negotiate. Let's figure this out. Let's be a little bit flexible. Reggie, like, absolute this order in that order. I'm gonna give a little bit of wiggle room, just a little bit. So.
That Lyrian theory, it gets pretty deep though.
Yeah,
it's a very fascinating one.
Yeah. So you see that dynamic? I said we were kind of bumping here. It's the same dynamic me and Cool Breeze would have when we would have our heated debates. So he wants to negotiate. He got a different way of thinking. Say it's gonna be one or two ways, bro. Because in the end, it's gonna come out the same results. So it's one or two ways. Why we have to negotiate here? Well, why you got to be that way? Why you got to why I got to be your way? Why I can't be this gray way? Like, man, why you got to make up stuff though? 2 and 2 is 4. We know 2 is 4, but why does it have to be 4? Who said that it had to be 2 and 2 is 4? Just because somebody told you it's 2 and 2 is 4 is 4. Well, why couldn't it have been? Man, why are we having this conversation?
Like, sir, the evidence is there. How many is this?
But and when you think about it, they're right still. You see what I'm saying? There is no absolute to anything, because what they told us 17,000 years ago is not true today. So what's true today is not going to be true 10 years from now. So if I'm saying that this is the truth, it's not the truth. It may not be the truth because it's not going to be the truth 10 years from now. And that's what I've learned from them. I've understand it that way.
Also verify. You can trust, but you can verify and be like, let me do a little research.
Yeah. Research is never a bad thing. I like research. It's fun.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Research changes. Research changes because it's still coming from a person. It's coming from a human. It changes. So somebody else is going to take your research and research that and find something else in there that you didn't find the first time. So it changes. So nothing is really concrete for real at this point. That's just my opinion at this point. All right. Well, we at this segment, you know what I'm saying, where we put some smoke in the air. I'm not putting no smoke in the air today because, like I said, this is part 2 of my back being hurt and all that kind of stuff, and I can't move and all of that. However, hey, like I said, I'm still a loose neck and humpbacker. That's it. You know what I mean? It's my neck and my back. But anyway,
we don't have no evidence
we
of
put
that
some smoke
today
in the
because
air.
You're sore.
Yeah. At this point, you get to spill the tea and get to tell a story, a band story, or just a regular life story, a sibling story. Then that is a funny one, something indifferent, or it's a bound chicka bound and all that kind of stuff.
Oh Lord!
You gonna let her tell a bound chicka bound story?
Oh,
she know how far to go.
I might get somebody in trouble, so I ain't gonna mention their name.
Well, you ain't gotta mention name. Yeah, you ain't gotta mention no name. But if you want to, you can.
Oh, the fondest and funniest story, but it could have went very left for me being in a band. Well, let me back up. The best story, I'll say that, was when my mom could not afford to send us both to Jackson State. Boom. Like, So I cried. And I remember this one particular person, Mr. McGee, if he's watching, and Mr. Washington and all the rest of them. And rest in peace, Mr. Damon. They all came together with my brother and had this bright idea to throw a party and raise money and put it in their brown paper bag to raise enough money so that I can go on the trip to Jackson State. And they were leaving like the next day. And my brother was like, hurry up and throw some clothes in the bag because you're going now. Because my mother was like, I have to send Reggie. He's the drummer. And I was like, but still, I'm a part of the band. I actually practiced this time. And it was the big performance where we could do the floats and the diamonds and stuff and, and do the flutes and turn and all that kind of stuff. And my best friend at the time, D Jocks, was going. And I was like, how am I going to be left behind? So they raised money. They all came out. They threw this little party in the basement on Archer Road and made money. My brother charged at the door. We made enough money so it could pay for me a spot on the tour bus, and off to Jackson State I went with my little flute and my little clothes and my spat and my plumes and stuff. And so that was a good time for me that I remember. I don't know if any of these guys remember that, but I had a different, profound, liking and respect for them because they didn't have to do that. My brother didn't have to do that. He could be like, oh, she's just throwing him aside. We're gonna leave her here. But I was able to go and experience, God rest his soul, Mr. Greer. That's the school he went to. He was our band director in King in high school. And we were able to go and we did the damn thing. And I would never, ever forget that those guys pulled together. And then some of the young ladies too, but mainly the guys kind of put it together. And my brother spearheaded it and collected the money. And we had enough money for me to go. And so that was my band story that really touched and stayed near and dear to my heart. That I always knew that when we come together and we really come together for a good cause and a purpose, we can get the money and we can make it happen. And whatever needs to be done can be done. And I was able to go and experience Jackson State Boom. And I remember that. And that will always stick with me. And that's why I really had a liking for the marching band and just the whole camaraderie of everybody having a good time on the bus and being in the different schools in Tennessee. Then we went the next year and so forth. And so I remember all those good things about the band.
That's what's up.
Do you remember that story?
I'm, you know, I threw so many parties down there in that basement. I don't remember, but that's yeah. That's
I remember that
dope.
one. Yeah,
That is. You know,
That's what
that yeah.
near
Now
and dear to
I
our.
listen. Now she said that I done threw this party to make sure that she went to Jackson State. And we get to Jackson State, and the band is having a pool party.
Oh,
And then somebody came to me and said, "Hey, Reg, where your sister at?" And just because they said it, what you mean with my sister? Ha 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 ha. I'm just, where your sister? Where is my sister? Because she ain't around this pool. Where is she? So, of course, being the drum major, I have the key to everybody's room. So I'm going to everybody's room and I know everybody's room. And I don't find my sister. Well, I go to my room. My sister is in my room with a band boy, her little boyfriend at the time. They was about to kiss, or they was. I don't know what they're doing. Boy, when I opened that door, you should have seen the fear in her face. To get your ass out there. Get out of here right now.
You gonna get him
about
in
to
trouble,
do
not me.
you ain't gonna, you know what I mean? I ain't say no names. But he know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Get out of here and everything. See how the siblings, pay you back. See how she gonna pay me back. I get her to go to get there, and she gonna be in my room with a dude about to make out. Get out of here.
Well, I mean, it was only kissing. It was only kissing, right?
Kissing? That was like having sex back then. What you talking about?
Just one little kiss.
Yeah. But listen, y'all, I've never told who told me. It was James Woods who came to tell me. James was the one that told me. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Red, where your sister at? Where your sister at? Yeah. He the one snitched. He ain't never say where you was or who you were. He just said, where your sister at? I'm like,
Draw your attention. Like, wait a minute, where is she?
Why are you concerned about me?
Yeah.
I hated his butt after that. You know that. And then I couldn't even have no boyfriend no more. So he was scared of my brother. So off he went to the next.
But you know what though? In hindsight, having guys be scared of your brother is not really a bad thing, you know? Because if anything, it should help weed off the misfits. Yeah. That's why I said I used to send it to my brother, like, "Oh, you like me? Go holler at him."
I don't think anybody to me, because I don't lead by fear. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody to fear me. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody feared me, but I think it was the respect. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna earn your respect, but I want you to respect me too. Right? You know what I'm saying? And like I said, there's not a line you can cross with me. You know what I mean? But it's just about the respect thing. And people knew as their leader that I respect them and that I'm going to also be there to help protect at the same time, and that I'm going to protect this band at the same time. Like, you know, there was a time when Tone, which is, you know, that's my boy from the womb. You know what I'm saying? We're born on the same block and grew up on the same block. And you know what I'm saying? And he had a situation where people were trying to jump him on the bus. He lived on the west side. I stayed on the east side. So I would drive all the way to the west side just to pick him up to bring him back to the east side to school. And then it got to the point where, okay, you still got to get on this bus because I can't keep doing this. So, you know, for about a week, he get on the bus. I drive right behind the bus just in case these dudes wanted to try to do something to him on the bus. You know what I'm saying? So that's how my dynamic is when it comes to the band and to the marching band. You mess with the band, you mess with us. It was a family, tight-knit organization that we had. You know what I'm saying? You was there, Flo. You don't mess with the women up in here. None of that. You can't mess with our girls, and you ain't about to do none of that. You know what I'm saying? You mess with one, you mess with all. So that was just the dynamic that we had, you know, at the time.
And I think that's where I learned that, hey, the marching band, regardless of whatever people say about it, it's a really good thing to have young children, basically, when we was in high school going on to college, to understand that this is a brotherhood, this is a sisterhood. And then within that, you had your fraternities and your sororities. And then, of course, when you go to college, the same thing. And then outside of that, you have your fraternities and your sororities. And it's a sisterhood. It's a brotherhood. Although I didn't all the way pledge. However, I'm like an honorary.
Pledging is not a good word to use. We do not use those.
Sorry.
We do not. Join.
Join.
You know what I'm saying? and all of
join
that good stuff. Yeah.
Take
commitment to. But yeah,
we
it
do
was
intake
good.
processes over here.
Hi.
Yes, we do. We have a process. We go to class. We have class.
Mm.
Intake
Okay.
Yes.
process.
So you didn't officially do
We let
class or have a process? Is that what you're saying, Ty?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you
Okay.
go.
I am cool with everybody. So
Mhm.
different organizations, even
Mhm.
at work and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a good thing to understand. Like you mess with one, you mess with all. So it's a lot of us. So take your pick.
Mhm.
Not getting through all these if you want to come for me.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. I got a question for the whole panel. What's something
Okay.
that you admire? What's something that you admire about your mom and your dad?
I'll go first.
With me, it's her
Oh,
her determination, her strength, her her hustle. Uh, the way she provided. All that. I mean, like remember being young and just growing up. She took care of us. I mean, she did what she had to do as a single mother, raising 5 kids by herself. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate what she did. That's what I admire about her. Her go get it. She gonna get it. That's what I admire about her. I love her to death.
Mhm. What about your pop?
My pops. So my pops, my biological father. When I was young, I've said this a million times. He taught me stuff that was wrong, and I didn't realize it was wrong until I got older. Uh, which is funny to me nowadays. But I still respect him and love him. But I mean, like now, my stepfather, on the other hand, now he definitely provided, showed me a lot of stuff, taught me a lot of things, uh, showed me how to be a man. You know, uh, growing up with him, and I mean, I was young growing up. Taught me how to be a man, showed me a lot of different things, showed me the world. You know, and I appreciate him for that. So yeah, those are things I admire about him.
Okay.
well, I'll go next. What I admire about my mother is that she was always stern, even though I didn't like it then, but she was stern and she provided a way. Sometimes I think back like when we didn't have a car, but we got to school every day. When we didn't have certain things, we still got to school. There was still a hot meal on the table, breakfast, dinner. Our hair was always combed. We had clothes on our back.
Mhm.
We had a roof over our heads. So I respect the fact that no matter what it took, my mama always was able to provide, and she was stern with us, and she also kept me and my brother Reggie connected so that she knew that one day when she would no longer be here, he would be that person there for me. And then later, of course, my other siblings came along. So the fact that she taught connection, regardless of differences that we may have with her or with our other siblings or what have you, she always tried to keep us together. Unlike my brother was saying, like her and her siblings wasn't always as tight, but she wanted us to be different. So I respect the fact that she always found a way to make sure we were good, even when she wasn't, and we knew she wasn't, but she just
Mhm.
did it. Now with my father, I respect him and I admire my dad because he was always there, no matter what. I mean, he wasn't physically in the home when I could remember, but I couldn't imagine my life without my dad being in it because he taught me so much. Like he taught me from the male's perspective as well, and from female's perspective, and then he also had another brother on his side. He's no longer with us. He's passed away. But he taught the both of them, my two older brothers, Reggie and Sean, to watch after me. So it was like dad instilled protection. So my father was always my rock and my protection, as well as my two brothers at the time. And I just love him so much. You know, I can't imagine life lessons without my daddy having a say so in my ear. And he told me this: when I am no longer here, I want you to remember one thing. I said, "What's that, Daddy?" He said, "Keep on moving like the clock's hands of time," like the song by Soul to Soul. And I had to sing in. He said, "No matter what, just keep on moving like the clock's hands of time. It don't stop. And when it's your time, that's it. But I want you to keep going." So, you know, that was very profound for me. So with that, my parents, the two of them, I'm both of them. You know, I got a little bit of both of them in me. You know, like Chris said, maybe I'm like my mother, maybe I'm like my father. I don't know. But it's a good balance. I'll say that. And I'll turn it over to you, Drum Major. Or Flo.
You want to go, Flo?
Yeah. So I was taking some notes. Both of my
Well,
parents are deceased now, but some of the things I admire about my mother was her creativity and her advocacy. So it was a lot of things like before she passed away, we had like it was like a tumultuous up and down most of my life. But towards the end, we kind of got it together. But as a mom, I pull from a lot of things that I saw her do when I was a child, even when I was in the classroom as a teacher. Because my brother and I have a sister between us who has special needs. And the way my mom used to advocate for her and go to bat for her and have all these meetings with the SPED departments in different schools, just me watching her do that, I was able to kind of pull from some of that with my students who were special needs and advocate for them in the same way. So when that question was posed, those are some of the things that popped into my memory. And just also with both of my parents, they were well loved and well received by anybody who knew them. Like if you didn't like them, it was something you did, you know. Especially with my dad. He had this way with people. If you observed him with people, you would think that he knew them forever. But it's usually that's the first time he's met with them, you know. Also just his discipline with his work ethic. I remember hearing stories about when he worked for one of the auto companies back in the 80s and got laid off, and then he started driving a cab. He just always was finding a way to provide. That was his thing. Like he's like, I gotta work. I'm a man, I gotta provide. And I just remember that about him. And just his presence, even though once my parents divorced, I was like 12. So he wasn't physically in the home, but his presence was still there. Even my friends knew him. When I was away at college, he used to just drive up and pop up on me. Security would call, hey, your dad just pulled through the gate. Because they knew my daddy did not play. And if you were my friend, he wasn't playing about you either, you know. And just his sacrifice and the way that he protected us. And even as he was passing, because my dad died from cancer, we knew we knew it was coming. And just some of the responsibility he left to my brother. See about your sister, see about your mom. And my brother took that. Like most people will hear that and think, okay, that's what my dad's telling my brother, that's his job. Like he took that to heart. Like that's his job, you know. And just I admire both my parents, but for different reasons, you know. Yeah. So what's on you?
okay. Yeah. I'm gonna start on the male side because I've never called nobody daddy. You know what I'm saying? There was no daddy for me. You know what I mean? So, you know, my viewpoint of that is that my growing up, my mom was my dad. You know what I mean? Because she was always there. And so a lot of the things I was learning about how to become, you know what I'm saying, a man as a young pup, I was learning it from my mother. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I learned how to cook because she would come in here, chop up this. If you go to her house today, she gonna make you do something. Put it that way. So you gonna cook, you gonna chop up something, you gonna taste something. So you know what I'm saying? But in that, she will have these conversations with me and she will allow me to have conversations with her. But I will always be like, well, my friend, da 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 da, and then she'd be like, well, tell your friend, you know what I mean, da 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 da. So that's how I was learning through that. Actually, I don't learn who my real pops is until I'm 38, and my sister right here is a big cause of that. We were having a conversation, like I was like, man, you know, I was jealous of you when we were growing up because you can go to your pop's crib. You know what I'm saying? And the things that your pops was doing, teaching you how to read the newspaper and how to read and going places with you and allow you to do these things and put money in your pocket. I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? I had to stay home. So I was jealous when she was able to go, especially when we started making money. and all that kind of stuff. You know, sister go to Pop's crib like, I ain't made no money, and I got to get my money back to mama. You know what I mean? That's another story. But you know what I mean? So I was jealous. And she was like, you know what? I've always wondered who your pops was too. Because there was always a potential of these two different dudes that we knew of. And she said, you know what? We get it. She did a whole storyline about this DNA test. And I won't tell her story on that. But she said, I'll send you a DNA kit for your birthday. And I'm like, okay, bet. So, you know, she sent it. I didn't think she was going to send it, but she sent it. Came in the mail. I called up moms, called up the door, and said, listen, I'm coming to Detroit. Would y'all be willing to do this? And they like, yeah. And swallowed them both down, and boom. 99.99, it was the other guy that I really didn't know and stuff like that. Now, it pissed me off because these two were excited about learning the information. But I took it as all these years, you could have done this. You kept me in the dark. You know what I'm saying? I missed out on it, on these lessons where I could have been or could have known where I come from and who I come from and these type of things where I've always felt abandoned, you know what I'm saying, as a young man by myself, because I got to navigate this life for real by myself. I'm learning from other people what they're doing, but for real, I didn't have nobody to go to. I didn't have that dad. You know what I mean? So for them to be all excited about it, I'm like, not one of you said, I'm sorry. Not one.
Right.
But now we have a great relationship. Me and this guy. You know what I'm saying? It's been since then. We talk every Thursday. every Thursday. You know what I'm saying? And if I don't call him, he's calling me. But we just have conversation, regular conversation, and we kick it, right? Yeah. Now, my mom, what I admire about my mom is everything that Herb said about his mom. My mom is a hustler. She's a survivor. Right. So, you know, I'm old enough to know when she was going through it and having these arguments and fights with dudes and stuff like that in the household, when she would cry, you know what I'm saying, when she would have to go to the hospital, all of these type of things, when she would have these panic attacks, all of these things. So I've been there. I can remember when Ty dad was in the house and all of that kind of stuff, when he was with us and everything, because that's my mother's first husband. They got married. I remember the wedding, all of that. But mom's always provided for us. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing I really admire about my mother, especially when it comes to family. Now, there's things that comes along with my mother. You know what I mean? That you ain't gonna like. You know what I mean? But when it comes to family, her true essence is that she want a family. She would make sure all her brothers have gifts for their birthdays, Christmas. She made sure their girlfriends, their wives, their kids, all of these, the kids up and down the street, all of that. She would always keep everybody together. She would throw these parties all the time. Yeah, I mean, we had a party for everything. We party for everything. Oh, it's 80 degrees today? Party. Oh, it's St. Patrick's Day? Party. You know what I'm saying? We partied. There was people at our house all the time. You know what I'm saying? Our uncles lived with us, all of that kind of stuff, different time. All the time. There was never a time when there was no one at our place and that she looked after us. So that's one of the things I admired about her is her strength and that she really want people around. She want to keep people together. I mean, she would go and look for her nieces and nephews that we didn't grow up with, and she would find them. This is your cousin. You make sure you know your cousins. You make sure you love your cousins. She just that part about her, I've always admired. Always. Absolutely.
Did you ever ask them why they didn't pursue the DNA test sooner? Like, was it just not?
They probably thought, I mean, because you got to think, I'm born in the 70s. So DNA tests and all that wasn't popular. That really wasn't even out then, the DNA test, DNA and stuff.
Okay.
So they just didn't know themselves that that's something they can do. They probably thought it cost a lot of money and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, they just didn't go about doing it. It was just, we're just going to call it what it is because you look like him. Like, no, that ain't how things work.
And you look like him. Definitely.
Yeah, I do. I look like him. I definitely do. Wow. And when he be talking now, like he was telling this story about how he drives. And he, you know, I drive with my left knee up and I put my hand on my knee and I drive with my left hand. You know what I'm saying? And my other hand is on the gear shift, and I'm just listening to him. And I'm like, that's exactly how I drive. Like, who would ever know that I got that from him? Because he's never told me that. I didn't know. So it's in the DNA to feel comfortable with driving that way. You know, so he's a cook. He cooks. My mama cooks. And guess what? I cook. You know what I mean? Now, I don't like cooking, but I cook because I like to eat. You know what I mean? But I can cook. You know, so all of those things make a difference.
Yeah, my dad was a cook in our family. I actually have a picture of him on my refrigerator cooking. He was teaching me how to make this Ghanaian dish called fufu in that picture. And I snapped it. But I remember him teaching me when I was about 9 or 10 how to iron his shirts and his pants. And just like you were saying with your mom teaching you how to cook in the kitchen, and you would have those conversations. I remember having conversations with him when he was teaching me life skills and saying, you know, when you get married, you're gonna have to do this for your husband. I'm like, why can't he iron his own? And he like, well, you know, you're gonna have to help him. Oh, okay. I married a man who couldn't iron shit. So I was like, oh, you trained me for this moment, you know. But I had a lot of good conversations with my dad. Funny stuff, a lot of funny stuff, you know.
That's what's up. So, Miss Ty, I'm going to ask this question. I was going to let Fancy ask the question, but I'm going to ask this question since we on a roll right now. And I'm just going.
I need
how
my
could
fan.
Hey, yeah, you need your fan on. No, I might need my fan. Hold on.
Oh,
nope, I don't have no fan right over here.
I got the pink.
How could I, as your brother, have been a better sibling to you when you was growing up?
There's no better way. You was just what you was designed to be. And I'm not gonna lie, because I can't come up with an answer. I can't come up with an answer because looking back now, being pretty much 47 years old, you did what you was designed to do. And so I can't create something different. So the only thing I would say is you didn't have to be so hard all the time, a solid no on this. But I don't think nothing that I would change. Now, if you ask me now, how could you be better now? Just talk to us more, talk to us more like from an older sibling, like the person that we are now. Because sometimes I think we all do it without knowing. Still see each other as the younger person, and we get stuck in that time because that is the fondest memory that we have of each other, just like Lena and Lee and stuff like that. And so sometimes we forget that, like, yes, even though this is brother Reggie, this is Shalit, sister, this is Lena, this is Ty, but we forget we're grown women now, we're grown men now, and we have to still communicate from that level.
Okay.
So that's it. Not bad.
That's a good one. So what's a good memory of the family that still make you laugh today?
When I got that whooping with my hair flying out, stuck on the
I was gonna bring it up. But I said I don't know if she want me to bring that one up.
It's no embarrassing moment. I laugh about it all the time. I tell my boyfriend, like, my mother was no joke. When he told you she was about her business, but there's other things that come with it. She was an enforcer. Like, you're going to not talk back. You're not going to question authority at this point in your time. You're not going to do all this. And I was like, but why? Kind of like how your friend, but why it's got to be, and why? She was like,
negotiating, trying to negotiate.
Yeah, negotiating. Here's why I wanted to go to law school, right? So I can negotiate deals. But anywho, whatever we got into it about, it didn't end well for me. And I ended up on the floor, stuck in between a shift row or something, the cabinet and the heater vent, and slipped and was trying to run because I was a runner, honey. And I slipped my hair, and I had lots of thick hair, and it got tangled up on the heater vent, and I couldn't get away. So she just got me where I was at, told me up, and I got loose finally, and I pulled a plug out of my hair by trying to run. And I ran to the woods, slammed the door, and Reggie was coming in. He was like, what's that flying on the heater. She was like, ask your sister. I remember that statement stuck in my head. Ask your sister. And I had a plug.
Oof.
Yeah.
She was like,
yeah,
yes,
I remember. I
You're
remember.
gonna take it. So I laugh
remember.
about it now, but I was like, my mother was mean, but I shouldn't have been talking back.
There it is.
Talking back,
There it is.
I should have did the chores that I've had plenty enough time to do. I was going to do it on Todd's time. She wasn't going to be back for the next 30 minutes. I'll get to it in 29, or I'll pay my brothers and sisters to do it. And she showed me something different that day. And so we laughed about it. She was like, you remember that? I was like, yes, Mama, I couldn't. I was going to make use of voodoo doll with that hair or something. But yeah, that was funny to me. It wasn't funny then, but it was embarrassing. And my brother, he couldn't do nothing but tease me. He was like, "Here, get your hair back." And so, but yeah, I remember that. And it was a time where, mothers back then, they loved their children. They really did. But they also knew that there had to be some level of respect and discipline. And you're not going to, as they say, you're not going to whip my ass. I'm your mother. I brought you in this world. Y'all know the rest. I'll take you out. So that's funny to me, but I can appreciate it now, because that's why I don't like disrespectful, talk back type sassy kids.
Yeah, I mean, like you said with Miles, man, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand, man, especially Saturday mornings when them pots and pans get the clinking and clinking in there. You about to have a full day of cleanup. And all the cleanup, and you got to go clean up the alley, got to go clean up behind the dumpster, got to clean up the backyard, got to clean up the garage, got to clean out the basement.
That's good. She had y'all cleaning, because kids don't clean these days.
Baseboards inside the window sills, washing windows, scrubbing carpets, and all that. I couldn't stand that crap. And then so I got smart. I'm like, okay, I know what she's gonna do. Let me clean up before I ask her if I can go outside, because you ain't going nowhere till all these things is clean. But because I didn't like it then, it taught me how to be clean now, because I'm clean now, and I don't like a dirty place. I don't like a disorganized place and all that kind of stuff. And that comes from that upbringing in itself. Say you're going to clean up, you're going to cook, and you're going to wash these dishes. You're going to all this. This is how you clean. Let me show you. I'm going to show you one time. And you ain't coming out of here until it's done right. So you might as well do it. And if I have to keep telling you to do it, you might as well go in there and get that belt out that closet. So yeah. But see, that was me. You know what I'm saying? I might ask a question. I'm going to question, like, hey, why? But this one right here, this one talks back. She like to talk back.
Used to.
Yeah, used to. Okay. I'm talking about back then. And I'll be like, she gonna get you. She gonna say, come on, you about to get it. And what it was, and what you just, I don't think what you remember what you said. What you said was, I'm gonna tell my daddy. That's what ticked her off. And sis was a runner. So like she said, she was a runner, and she ran. It was a couch and a wall, which you got stuck in between. And the heater was in that space. And she got up in that space and got that hair locked in that heater. And Mom wore that butt out and everything. And I tell your daddy that. Yeah, that's what that all was about. I remember that day. Yeah. Yep. And this was too, I gotta tell you, because this was the funny stuff. We would get into it, of course. And I would make her cry. And my mom would come in there and whoop both of us. But she always would start with her. As soon as Mama hit her one time, like she was killing her. Mama hit her 2-3 times, the whooping's over. She coming there on my ass because it don't hurt me. She want to keep whooping me until I cry. So it wasn't until I got around 13 that I realized I need to start crying like her. But I would put my face down in the pillow and be like, but I'd be laughing at the same time. But that she won't whoop me as long as she will whoop her.
Well, she didn't kill me. I was this frail. So one whacking, that's it.
Yeah,
but siblings is a joy as well.
Yeah. But it taught us how to be tough and how to navigate this thing that's called life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all my siblings, all of us, we're individuals, you know what I'm saying? But we tough as nails. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep a clean house, you know what I mean? We're gonna work. We work for ours. You know what I'm saying? We ain't taking nothing from nobody. You know what I'm saying? We all party hard, but we work hard too. You know what I'm saying? We're all leaders, you know what I mean? And that's because of Deborah Anderson. That's because of Deborah Anderson. You know what I mean? So definitely get that to her. Absolutely. Well, since we at the part of the podcast, where you get to build where you get to build your own band, your own marching band. All right, or band, or any type of band from front to back, band director all the way back to percussion. It can be from the King House, it can be from Bustle. You can get the dancers from this place, you can get the trombones from this place, or you get the whole band from one particular place. However you want to build your band, how would that look?
Who would I pick if I remember names? Teresa Logan, if you out there. Ooh, I remember
Teresa.
Yeah,
that was the best female drum major that I can remember.
Teresa wasn't no drum major.
Yeah. Oh, she was the she was the drummer.
She was a drummer. She just played drum. She was never a drum major. You talking about Courtney Anthony? Courtney Anthony was drum major with me.
Came to learn. Her Teresa, she came up.
Teresa didn't make drum major with me.
Well, she didn't make it, but she still came. But anywho,
gotcha.
Teresa Logan and the other girl, you was just saying, I liked her. It was a big thing to have girls back then to do something that's funky. Of course, I would bring D-Rock and all of them ears if you out there, Kenyatta, Bachelor, Flo, and the saxophone guy who was
John, the one with the waves.
Not John. I like John too, but the other one, he
Taki?
was
what he look like?
No,
not Taki.
No, I know you're talking about. He was quiet. He was quiet, kind of muscular karate dude. What was his name? Him and John used to hang out. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
I would take Keisha, the piccolo player as well.
Yeah, I remember her.
And the Keisha drummer, Keisha
King, King, baby.
Yes, I remember.
Keisha King.
I'll bring Dominique too. We was our flute section. Bernie, Sharice Bernie.
Yeah.
Tania, I remember Tania. She was clarinet.
Tania Bishop, yeah.
Clarinet.
Yeah, that's her name. Yep.
Screaming Demon, if you out there. Mike's favors, I would take him. Bustle, I'm gonna go back to Bustle. I remember Julius. I would have him. And Rodney and Willie. But I can't remember a lot of other people from Bustle besides, us. And but yeah, I would take some of those people that I remember that was really, really impressionable to me. Like they knew they shit. And they made that part of that section, so Quan, the cymbals go like this. I remember he was flipping the cymbals. So those were some good memories for me. I mean, if I'm missing anybody, sorry. Those are people I can put in.
That's what's up.
And of course, my brother, the drum major.
You taking Bustle in the King House, Bustle Bulldogs in the King House.
Yeah,
roll it all together.
And I'm gonna put one more person in there from college, Sakari.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sakari.
Sakari last name.
Neil.
Where? Sakari.
Okay,
where?
I don't know why I know the name though. Did he go to King with us?
No. He went to King.
Now you might have known him through the music world around Detroit because he was in that DJing and stuff like that. He had dread. He had dreads. Yeah, dread. He was from San Diego.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Herb, I'll pick you too, honey. He can't even.
Herb over there watching that damn game. That's what he doing. You see, he done got quiet. He done got quiet. And look, the playoffs done started today. He done got quiet and everything.
Mm-hmm. You ain't fooling nobody, Herb.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you this: if we can all do it over again, I would do it all over again and be involved in more of the musical world. I think, like I said, when my brother left, I kind of was like, I lost, interest in being in it. And I went on to modeling and acting, but it was still my path, but I probably would have went further with it. It was a part of our life that we can always share. Whenever a song come on, I always think of whip it, and all the songs that we and Frankie Beverly and Mays and all that.
It never rains in Southern California.
They lied, it just rained last week. Look.
Yeah, that's what's up. What's this? Absolutely. We love you forever and one more day. You know how it go. You know what I mean? I appreciate you getting on and everything like that in our sibling podcast era and everything.
Yep.
So we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot and everything. So listen, folks, that's out there. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and everything. Make sure you hit that bell and the thumbs up. Put a comment in there too. Matter of fact, hey, don't forget, we also selling our t-shirts, our Band Bourbon and Cigars t-shirts. Listen, the proceeds is going towards buying woodwind reeds for elementary, middle school, high school, and college bands. So go ahead and get your t-shirt, donate to that, and that's going to be 100. And don't forget, Tidal Wave is over there too. It's coming near you. Tidal Wave, you see me with my shirt with it on. That's right. Make it happen. Let's support these Black businesses, man. We support them by these Jordans. Yeah, we buying all these other things, these vans and all that. Let's support these Black businesses. 100. Peace.
Bye. See everybody. Right back.